What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Smiths. And we're on to the next phase of the non-album track journey. Thank you again to Daisylusion. And we're going to hear some tunes from the period of their The Queen Is Dead album, 1988, I believe, beginning with Money Changes Everything. My immediate wonder, is this a cover of the Cyndi Lauper tune? I don't necessarily assume it to be so, but in the moment it's hard not to think of that possibility. So yeah, if that is the case, I might wonder whether Morrissey would put some sarcasm or maybe even change some of the lyrics, but obviously it could be a tune independent of Cyndi's song of the same name, so in that case I would expect it to have a very sardonic or critical look on the way money can alter people, can ply people, bribe people, make them betray their own values, etc., or indeed just serve as a motivating and moving force out in that hard, cold, and or dark world that he often seems to perceive. So either way, I'll try to catch what I can on a first listen. This is the Smiths. The track is Money Changes Everything, and it's a single. Does it say specifically? Give me one moment to check. Non-album B-side, or non-album single B-side. And does it say, let me check just the details here. Yeah, it just says The Queen Is Dead, A's and B's. So yes, either way, this is Money Changes Everything by the Smiths. an instrumental, which like a minute or two in, it felt like, okay, if he doesn't start singing within the next moment or two, I'm guessing this is an instrumental track, and indeed it was. Secondarily, I didn't hear any melodic connection to Cyndi's song, so I'm assuming they're just like independent convergence on the same name. But yeah, like definitely a, if not country sound, definitely a bit of a like western frontier type of feel to the Sonics, though even saying that, I think there was some keyboard work in there, so it feels maybe a little less straight away indie rock than the earliest stuff, which again, as we went through the albums, I definitely heard a bit of an evolution and expansion of their sound. But yeah, it feels like there's a real western, like almost rustic type of feel, but also there was a moment where I was wondering if the same effect was on the guitar as in How Soon Is Now. It had that sort of like vibrating type of sound to the guitar work, but also there's some moments with like a real metallic strummed type of sound. So yeah, like a rich sonic palette. And I don't know, given that an instrumental, it's always tough to get a read on the title, even if like sonically you can find some meaning in the title relative to the different instrumental parts. Yeah, I don't quite know what to make of it. Again, maybe there could be some meaning in that, like, well, music doesn't really have to have any purpose once money comes into it. Money changes everything. I could think of some ways to extrapolate to a meaning of the title, but perhaps it's just a moniker given to an instrumental that they worked on. But yeah, a cool tune, one which again has a bit less of their early sound, a bit more of their evolving sound, bringing in some keyboards, I think. So yeah, not quite sure what else to say about this one, but cool and an enjoyable sonic excursion. It felt long for an instrumental. Like there again, the opening couple minutes or two, I wondered, yeah, almost 5 minutes long. So I feel like a song where Morrissey doesn't say anything, that seems like a long track, not in a bad way. I do want to mention I may not be able to do a Morrissey reaction in the same batch. I'm sort of trying to finish things by a certain time. Nevertheless, if that is indeed the case, I will get to Morrissey in the very next batch, so bear with me. Once again, shout out to Daisylusion for the Smiths non-album material, as well as to Seb for the Morrissey material, whether or not I can get his solo track into the same batch or not. Do let me know what you think, and from Luca, the Comfortable Cat, and I will see you next time. Peace.